The point of this is not to badmouth other people's nominations, but Jesus, you cannot throw AI on there because it has nothing to do with gaming. This is a fucking gaming
what do you
news
mean?
podcast.
Yes, thank you, Eric. Thank you.
But
and by the way,
no.
I think we totally can shit on other people. This is Twig. What are you talking about? What do you mean the point is? That is the point.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Games 362, the Golden Twig nominations episode. Very fun to have that. I'm Jen Donahoe. I am the marketing and publishing Yoda on the podcast. Today we have in from Canada,
Adam, just product.
Aircraft strategy and investing.
Phil Black, monetizations are.
Mishka, friend of the founders.
Here's what we have today on the episode, the Golden Twig Award nominations. But first, we have to listen to Mishka's World Travels and Shilling. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So I'm back from Riyadh and Abu Dhabi, so a little Arabian tour. I have to say, Bedouin hospitality is a real thing. People were just so nice and just going above and beyond to make our visit as warm and welcoming as possible. Just taking us like 30 kilometers out of the way, just saying like, hey, we're going there, and somebody would drive you and actually, get back and get you dates so that you can bring your kids after the trip. So really, really nice visits. Interesting conversations with the local gaming ecosystem. One of the kind of key takeaways is that they are definitely want to be one of the hubs for gaming in the world. But the sort of a talk that I've been seeing online that they want to dominate, that's definitely not true. So they just want to be recognized as one of the main hubs, and very humble, I have to say. Like, again, might be a misconception that the people there, they're buying everything, want to dominate. But in fact, a lot of really great conversations where they really wanted to hear our opinions and how things are going, and openly saying like, we don't know everything and we want to learn as much as possible. So
That's cool.
And finally, like a long-term vision. So they see the growth of player base. They don't know where the puck is going necessarily, but they see that gaming continues to grow. There's more gamers every year, according to Newzoo, 5% compound annual growth rate. So they're investing long-term. Great visit. If you haven't been to Arabia, whether you go to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, any of these, Riyadh, cool place. So worth the visit.
Yeah, your picture was
Looking for
amazing.
consulting help? Yeah. To the Game Vision 2030?
Keep posting, Phil.
Let's go on to Shilling. London is coming up. What do you have?
Oh, okay. So I listened to the last episode. So we were good to go for 3 events in London, but we cut it down to 2. So we are having the traditional now Supper Club, the Sunday Roast edition. That's going to be on the 18th. So pre-GC at Soho House. We were supposed to have roundtables, but the Duolingo office is not fully done. So they offered us times that were not perhaps the best ones, and we agreed to do it a little bit later. And also I heard Jen is not perhaps coming. So I was like, I'm not going to do roundtables alone. Yeah. Like, I'll honestly just blame it on Jen. So if you're wondering why we're not having product meets marketing roundtables, it's Jen's fault, really.
Yeah, blame it on one of my clients for moving dates. That's fine. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
But we're doing it later so that Jen can come. So that's the end result. And we'll have the mixer on the 19th. So all those links in the newsletter. Subscribe, open up, sign up, and see you there.
Awesome. What about your latest podcast?
Oh, Simon Haight, now formerly Supercell, before that Space Ape, and now at Duolingo. We had an episode that he fondly calls founder porn. So if you're into that type of stuff, there's a lot of learnings. Simon did the editing, and Duolingo and so forth, because of their public listed company, I gave them the access to it. So if somebody, what did they call it? It looks like it was janky or whatever the word, but I didn't do the editing. So don't blame me. Blame Simon on that. See, I'm reflecting all the blame.
Sure.
I'm reflecting everything.
You sure you want to say that about our good friend Simon and Duolingo?
Yeah, he wanted to do the edits. He was very clear. He wanted to own this because he said a lot of things.
Okay. Did they do the BBC edit?
Oh yeah, the BBC.
All right, moving on.
They did. They did. Uh-huh. It became a highly political episode where I was spewing all kinds of stuff.
All right, quick correction. On the UA financing stuff, I got the expected call from Jeff Cohen at PBX. I knew he was going to call. Like, there was no doubt, right? He wanted to clarify that you can't compare ROAS to IRR. They're apples to oranges. you need to compare IRR to other costs of capital. So Jeff wrote some really good points on LinkedIn. I suggest that you go look it up and like and subscribe. One thing I got wrong is that evidently they have deployed. They're at a 20 million run rate with 30 plus clients. So they are scaling to that 250 million mark. Good for them. At the end of the day, this is a very expensive way of growth capital. It just is, right? The real yearly rates are 20 to 25%. That's the way you have to think about it because everyone needs to make their chunk of change, right? Which is basically credit card rates. And we all know what credit card rates are about, right? Now, it's not quite, if you don't pay me by Tuesday, Vinny is going to come and break your legs, but it's getting there. It's getting there, right?
It's not Sopranos of the game industry yet.
Yeah, no. But anyway, it is a good source of funding if you fit within their rubric.
I wanted to ask, by the way, I listened just to the episode today with you guys talking about it. It was funny. I was just laughing out loud. But what do you call it? Like finding pennies in the...
the cushion.
In the cushions of the song. But it is kind of crazy how VCs are now becoming UA funds. What is that?
I'm repeating my shit over and over again. Yeah, VCs are no longer VCs, dude. They are registered investment advisors. They're basically going after whatever deals make sense and that give returns because I personally think a lot of these VCs are just really underwater on their primary activity, right? So they got to make money somewhere, right? Or I think in some cases they have access to capital that doesn't want to do venture capital for good reason. And so they are trying to find other uses of that. But these are not venture capital firms anymore, right? When you start doing this type of activity, you're basically, you're a registered investment advisor.
Next is like wealth management, right?
Yeah, it's just wealth management. It's like a family office, you know? It's bullshit. I mean, it's really bullshit. You can't really call yourself a venture capitalist.
Is there going to be a Big Craft credit card at the end of the year?
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a good idea.
Reward points.
But hold on, don't you think with all of these people offering capital now, it's just going to drive down the margin? So, I mean, PBX might be charging X.
100%, right? The only limitation is that the people that are giving them money need a base level of return. So the people that are going to be losing out are likely the third parties that are on top of that. General Catalyst is going to make its pound of flesh. They're not fucking reducing their expectations. You know what I'm saying? So... Yeah, it's a race to zero with all these people coming on board. And frankly, there's just not a lot of supply of clients, right? I mean, you're all competing for the exact same people. I mean, how many companies are actually scaling at this level?
I've done a little bit of research. It's about 2,500 publishers that could be funded by this. And in the end, it's yes, Phil is right. It's like it's driving down because there's so many capital providers. And I think the companies that are going to win in this element are those who can underwrite more. And then you can underwrite more whether how cheaply you can get the capital that you're giving away and what type of a data platform are you using in order to understand who you're going to be funded. Because the original ones that Josh was talking about on the podcast, like they were doing this funding off of Excel spreadsheets. That's crazy. And so nowadays, whoever has access to data platforms, as well as who can set up bank accounts in specific countries, etc., will be the ones that win in the end. So,
and you make the argument the interest rates are going to come down, so it's going to get cheaper in that way. But anyway, this is a race to zero. This is just a lot of people chasing. 2,500 is not a TAM, right? I mean, sure,
but that's why they're moving to apps now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, good point. This is not a really correction, but regarding the Netflix and Warner Brothers deal, my assessment on the Paramount deal and that Netflix is going to win. So. You really can't extract the politics out of all this. Like, again, all this shit is way above my pay grade, frankly. That's why I don't want to comment on it. But I listened to the All In podcast, and David Sachs is basically saying that Paramount's going to win this bid. And if David Sachs says that Paramount's going to win this bid, you better shut the up, Eric, basically is what I'm saying, right?
For those who don't know, David Sachs is the AI czar who is in the Trump administration.
Yeah, and if you don't know who he is, then you should pay attention a little bit more. Yeah. But Warner Brothers did, as I expected, reject the Paramount bid yesterday. So the board did reject it again, right? But I'm going to refrain from speculating on things I clearly can't possibly understand and stay on my skis or whatever the expression is. Again, way above my pay grade. So
yeah. And we were trying to do the angle of that conversation from the game industry. So that's okay. You're forgiven.
That I have absolute conviction that no one gives a shit about video games at any of these companies.
Yeah, that is unfortunate given the state.
Hey, Are you building a game, launching an app, or considering an acquisition? Well, in that case, Deconstructor Fund Consulting is here to help you out. We do everything from market research to go-to-market strategies to live ops optimization and due diligence. We're trusted by some of the most beloved game development companies, makers of tools and tech, as well as some of the most renowned investors. Now, if you are building, launching, or buying, don't do it alone. Do it with us. Connect by emailing to consulting@deconstructorofun.com.
In today's hyper-competitive digital landscape, understanding your app's journey from discovery to download isn't just insightful, it's the difference between scaling and stagnating. Enter AppsFlyer, the undisputed leader in mobile attribution and marketing analytics. They've mastered the science of making every ad dollar work harder by revealing exactly where your players come from and how they interact with your app. Their platform transforms mountains of complex data into clear, actionable intelligence that separates winning campaigns from budget-draining experiments. And I know that many of the top game companies leverage AppsFlyer and are a key partner in their success. AppsFlyer, where your app's potential meets performance. All right, so let's get into the Twig Awards, the Golden Twig. So let me explain a little bit how this works. We've done this for a couple years now, so we're going to continue the tradition. We have our own special categories. As you can imagine, they are very snarky. I think we have 9 of them. So as we go through each category, I'm going to give you last year's winner, and then each of us are going to give our own nominations. And so we're going to put the nominations into a survey form. We're going to put that survey form into the Deconstructor of Fun Slack channel. Apply to join if you have over 5 years of game industry experience. In the newsletter, which comes out every week, and then on the blog, we'll have the voting form for you to go in. We want you to vote. We want to see what the winners are. We're going to come back in a couple of weeks. We'll see if it's before the new year or not. We'll announce the winners. And we also want to go through and announce any of your comments, positive and negative. We do both. So last year it was fun to talk about a lot of the comments that we got from you, the listeners. So here we go. So the very, very first one, we kind of do the biggest one first. In terms of from a podcast perspective, is what was the talk of the year? So last year's 2024 winner was the mass layoffs. Sadly, there are still layoffs this year, but last year there was a reported 14,000-ish, almost 15,000 jobs lost in 2024. That was overwhelmingly 73% voted for that to be the big news. So that's last year. This year, Adam, why don't you go first? What is the talk of 2025?
I would say the biggest news for 2025 has to be EA going private. The runner-up for me, probably the Ubisoft apocalypse has crested Senate. I think that's probably number 2. The trend, like you said, news or trend, like I would categorize differently. The trend is probably rebounding M&A and improving outlook overall, although continued layoffs.
Without a question, it's Roblox's continued growth. I think the things this platform has done has wildly exceeded anyone's expectation. Right now, we're looking at DAU. Q3 2025, they are up 70% year over year, 151 million DAU. And even to Eric Kress's concerns, that includes tier 1 regions in the United States in Q3 2025, they are up 32% year over year from 25 million to 45 million. And they've done it all while keeping average bookings per DAU relatively constant at $40. Holy shit.
Can I just comment to this that this should be the talk of the town? I don't think it is, but this should be. And another thing that people are not talking about is not only the platform growth, but the multiples that these studios are getting. Like they are mobile 2016 multiples. We're talking about 10x revenue in acquisitions, but nobody's talking about it. So Phil, I would agree that this should be the talk of the town.
I mean, it's something like 50% of US kids 9 to 12, don't quote me on that exact number, are playing Roblox daily. It is just an unbelievable force to be reckoned with.
I accidentally maybe pivoted one company that was pitching me today to do games on Roblox. They were talking about how they're going to make Gen Z game, and they were showing me like this. I was like, you're not going to break into mobile. Then I showed them a couple of Phil's graphs from Roblox. They're like, we'll get
oh,
to you in
Jesus
January.
Christ.
But
no,
no,
don't
no.
Oh
do
my
that.
God.
Oh,
See, this is
Yes.
exactly why
Yes.
you don't do
Yes.
this bullshit.
Yes,
You
no,
never-
no.
Oh my
Me and
God.
Phil are
This-
Roblox. We
Oh
ride
my
or die.
God. You guys, these vanity metrics mean fucking nothing. And if you're
No.
advising companies to build shit on Roblox, you're out of your goddamn
not
mind.
advising.
Especially if
I'm
they're
just-
not 16-year-olds who are native to the Roblox platform.
It was not paid advisory. Somebody called me, wanted to chat about. I gave my opinion, not an advice.
Have you done the math on how
I have.
much actually goes into the pocket? It's like 21%.
If I would
net
do a
to
company now, I
developer.
would do a Roblox. I
Oh.
would play with
You
those
are
multiples.
idiotic. That is idiotic.
Oh.
That is an idiotic
That's,
statement. Just, I'm sorry.
I
I love you dearly, but that is not a smart take.
I stand with Roblox. That's it. I'm taking my stand.
Just to be clear, I don't endorse Mishka's point of view here. I don't endorse anything. All I'm talking about.
Thank you, Phil.
I
Thank
will-
you
I-
for clarifying, because I
Just
totally would put you in the
clarifying.
same bucket.
Listen, I'm very bullish on the platform. I think the platform
Correct.
is doing great. I think Roblox is doing f***ing great. I
Yes.
admit the fact that Roblox is doing great and likely will continue to do great as they unlock more revenue potential, right? But that does not mean that it's a viable platform for developers. Full stop.
Let me
And
just
it's
say
not.
this. Last thing. If you were a studio that gets to, let's say, $10 million in revenue on Roblox net, that makes you a $100 million acquisition target currently. And it's
By
so hard
someone
to be
dumb.
100 million.
That is like one in
Let's
a
revisit
bajillion
this. Let's
studios
revisit
on
it.
Roblox.
Okay.
I got a
This is-
Roblox game I'm nominating later on. We can revisit this. Don't worry.
We'll get
Roblox
to
is
this.
going to
We'll
come
get
back
to
in
this.
this episode.
So, all right.
All right, Chris.
I would say the Nintendo Switch launch, the notion that consoles are dead is so ridiculous, and that the Switch 2 launch is a good indicator of that. Runner up, I guess GTA 6 delayed twice this year. I mean, that's not good, but I think it's going to be a far bigger news story next year, obviously, on how well that game does.
That did get a lot of talk. I also agree with Adam on EA. For me, I want to nominate basically Tim Sweeney versus the world, Apple and Google in the lawsuit battles. And so we basically had both of the decisions coming up, which are going to change the future of mobile rev share. So with Apple versus Google, yes, there's still like a lot going on there, but the 5-year legal battle, is coming to an end, almost with them coming to a settlement and being BFFs. Remember when the judge was like, you've been going at each other's throats, and now this sounds like you guys are BFFs. That was super cute. So Fortnite's back in the app stores. It's pretty crazy. So I think we need a new category for like, what is the drama story? Or like I'm just like insert popcorn emoji. Do you remember the Crafton Subnautica 2 delay with the back and forth between Crafton and the founders, just from like a drama? So I think, maybe next year or maybe this year we'll add like the popcorn, the drama story of the year, put Ubisoft in there too. Okay, Mishka, what do you have?
I think I'm going to take the W here because you guys are too much in the weed, because AI has been the talk of 2025, of course. Every Web3 company is an AI company today. Every company talks about how they use AI to supercharge their teams, which of course every developer leads is how they're going to have less people.
Web3 companies as
Yeah,
the baseline.
yeah, that's
But
good.
sure. If you're going by raw volume.
Yeah, Robo. All these tech companies are doing demo reels on the new engine and new ways to do new cool videos with AI. We have startups coming in, raising crazy amount of money. Even like on this podcast, we had General Intuition that spawned out of a gaming company, especially Metal, getting 134 million seed round without even a pitch deck. Let's start there. That's how big of a talk. And then there's talk about AI bubble that happens at the same time with a talk about how the world is ending with an AI, just like simultaneously two different scenarios. That's number one. And I'll give honorable mentions to web shops. That's always a good talk. And then now I would say UA financing is also a talk of the talk.
Recency bias.
Chris. Yeah.
The point of this is not to badmouth other people's nominations, but Jesus, you cannot throw AI on there because it has nothing to do with gaming. This is a fucking gaming
what do you
news
mean?
podcast.
No.
Yes, thank you, Eric. Thank
With the
you. And by the way,
exception-
I think we totally can shit on other people. This is Twig. What are you talking about? What do you mean the point is? That is the point.
I will capitulate, though, that general intuition is relevant in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, that is probably the only AI story of the year for gaming. Everything else has been a fucking train wreck of epic proportions, right? How about all these AI gaming companies that like were trying to get funded, you know?
But that's the talk of that's what I mean. I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. I'm just saying that it's always talk of the town. Every time I do a podcast, I have to ask them like, oh, so what's your take on AI? No matter who the guest on the podcast, we always finish up with an AI question.
But the point of this whole podcast is to talk about what was the actual news story, like the coverage of
like an
things
individual
that are
piece.
happening in the space that have gotten the zeitgeist. And there has been absolutely nothing besides general intuition for AI in gaming the entire year, which is fucking scary because that's all that people can talk about outside of gaming.
It said
that
it
is
said
the story,
story is that
though.
there is no story.
It said news
Exactly.
or trend. So I was jumping in because Jen put it, the talk of the year, news or trend. So I was pushing towards the trend.
Now you got me all upset now, and now I'm going to be upset the whole podcast.
Let's go to
Mishka.
correction
All
of the
right.
year, left-eyed.
All right, we will edit the description of our category. So correction of the year, because we do this really well. We always correct ourselves, what we got wrong ourselves. So thank God for AI. I was able to go back and figure out what mine was. So last year, poor Phil, Squad Busters will become Supercell's most downloaded game. Actually, to be fair, the voting was kind of close on this. So Phil got it wrong. Mishka was number what?
Well, look at Mishka's number 2.
Yeah. Which is exactly the problem this time, too.
Yeah.
AI will
Hey.
revolutionize
Yeah.
how
He's still-
games are being made.
Now, next year correction is going to be about Roblox.
He's still
No.
on the AI bandwagon. He just won't listen. He won't learn.
I'm on all
that's
the
so funny.
bandwagons.
All right. So let's get into our 2025 corrections. Phil, what's yours?
Well, first of all, I didn't get my award last year, Mishka, so I would love to have a beautiful display case. I'm going for the hat trick this year. I think my correction is just Inzoi. Don't get me wrong, like I love this game. I still believed in the thesis. I hate that EA is getting fat off The Sims. I was looking for a challenger. I mean, before it came out, we talked about the challenges with Inzoi. They're not connecting with the female audience, which I think The Sims has built a very special connection with that audience. They have direct distribution, was way too high tech in terms of being Unreal 5. But at the end of the day, I really want this to succeed. And what we're looking at is a graph of cumulative revenue on Steam, and it's about 40 million. I have a hard time imagining Crafton is happy with that number. And so it looks like this one was wah, 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 wah. I don't think it's over yet. They're still throwing some development dollars on it. I don't think this is the last we've heard of it, but I think this is definitely a miss.
It's so over, dude. Get out of here. All right. Adam?
I'll take the L on COD and Battlefield, which I think we talked about in the summer just as soon as like Battlefield started to have that announcement. But yeah, I was more bullish on COD's floor than I was around Battlefield's ceiling. I said this. Did anyone else say this?
I have to be
Yeah.
a co-owner.
Eric
of
and
this
I
one. Speaking of which, I was super bullish on Battlefield. Don't get me wrong. I think we all
bullish,
were.
but we were all like, no, it can't be God's floor.
I said
we
that.
don't-
Just to be clear, I said that. I said it could
I
be
think we
Battlefield.
all said it. It's fine.
Well, we
can all
don't know
say
yet.
it
yeah.
So
on this one.
December will be a big month for Call of Duty, right? And Battlefield's falling off a cliff in terms of users. So perhaps we won't be off on this, but we'll see. But they've certainly
Yeah.
done way better relative to Call of Duty.
Yeah. I went back and checked that I expressed worry about the Switch 2. I said I'm a little worried for them. The pricing coming out the same as the next gen console. It's like $450 or $500. I'm not sure many families are going to be able to upgrade to the new Switch 2 with prices being so expensive. Yeah, no, wrong. Lots of people. Although I do think that the first wave of people were Nintendo fanboys and girls versus families. But yes, wrong on that. Mishka.
I had the conspiracy theory about Apple Game Store or App Store, Game App Store, whatever it's called. And I was
Yeah.
thinking that they're doing this to essentially keep their 30% by putting all the games into their new own app. And then they're saying, like, in this app, you can only pay using Apple's payment system. But that wasn't the case. It was just a one stupid app store. Like Cress said, what the have you been doing all this time was his comment. And that's what they were doing. So they weren't that smart.
Crest, conveniently, you didn't write anything in for this one.
You
Would
know-
you like to add in a verbal?
No, when you're perfect, right?
Oh.
Like I got it all right this year. I didn't get anything wrong. I'm not even nominated in this category, which I've won in the past.
You can always ask your wife. She's
You
very,
correct
really good at
yourself
that.
like
Short-term memory loss.
every episode you have a
Nope.
correction.
Nope.
Okay.
One of the benefits of Alzheimer's.
Oh, God. All right. Next category, most damage received. So this could have been a company, a platform, a genre that took a hit. Last year, Ubisoft, for being unable to ship great games, endless bad press, it pretty much took the category. So this year, Adam, what do you have?
I would call out Xbox in general, the entire portfolio, especially Activision, especially Call of Duty within it.
I am going to prohibit Crest from commenting on that.
I was just about ready to go off.
I know. That's why I'm like, no.
I have to give it another nod to Ubisoft. I couldn't imagine a scarier, more sick story of nepotism. I mean, if I was writing a novel, I couldn't think about like this crazy shit that French family is doing. So yeah, it's horrific.
Even if you wrote it, it would sound too much like a fiction and nobody would believe it.
It's like Succession, but like a shitty version of Succession. You know what I'm saying?
French version of Succession, you mean?
Yeah, we definitely need that
It's the
new
French
category.
version of Succession. Exactly. That's a good one. That's
All right,
better.
Phil, what do you got?
I am actually going with Lilith Games here. I mean, this company was once called the Supercell of China, and they're down 35% year over year. Again, we don't have Android. Chinese numbers are usual asterisk, but their entire portfolio is in the red. It looks like a disaster. AFK Journey was a total miss. AFK Arena is down. All their 4X games are down. Yes, web stores. But again, 4X is at its highest point it's ever been, and they're not riding any of that wave. Palmon Survival, remember that's the Pokemon entry point into a 4X, should be much bigger, and it is scaling a little bit. But if they had dropped all this stupid squad RPG bullshit and focused on Palmon, I think it could be even bigger. Instead, they're wasting their time with fucking Farlight 84, which they tried to relaunch. Their battle royale, their failed battle royale. They just don't know how to take the L and move on, and I think it is a huge miss for them this year.
Launch it on Roblox, right?
Yeah, put it on Roblox next to Frontlines. Gen Z will play the out of it.
Sell it to Century Games and maybe they'll do it right. All right, so for my primary, I also agree with Ubisoft. Just a couple other things to add. They sold the crown jewels to Tencent. They had about 4,000 layoffs. Star Wars Outlaws underperformed. X-Defiant, remember X-Defiant died and they shut it down. So the one I wanted to nominate was Warner Brothers games. You know, I had a good friend working on Multiverses that shut down, couldn't come back after the Hogwarts big year. And then also in all of the corporate drama, you know, to what Cress mentioned earlier, to be basically have no value assigned to it by Netflix, kind of, or Paramount. They are losing good people left and right, uncertain future. I just say poor Warner Brothers games is mine.
I concur. I would put Warner Brothers actually on top because essentially this year they went to zero. Like if you ask Netflix CEO, like, that's pretty bad. But since I had to find another pick, I would put Amazon Game Studios. This is something that has been essentially happening for a decade now. And I feel like it culminated in 2025 with King of Meat. And I'm not coming up with this name. Like, anyway.
Just to be clear, I worked on this, Mishka. So just be careful.
You worked on King of Meat? Anyway.
I love King of Meat. There's a lot we can talk about.
Okay.
Great
good.
spirit.
Great name. So King of Meat was a commercial flop. It peaked at 320 concurrent players, which is more than some of the Steam games we've been talking about on this podcast. But the internal expectation was 100,000 concurrent players, which just shows how inflated the expectations are inside Amazon Studios. And I was thinking about it, just putting in some numbers to ChatGPT, but just thinking about how much does this operation, a decade of these AAA studios cost? It must be in billions. And in the end, it's just like they had no ability to execute. They had even their own game engine. You remember Lumberyard? They've done MMOs, they've done hero shooters, they've done MOBAs, the whole 9 yard of games that Crest shits on.
Don't say the MOBA, because now he's going to talk for 5 years about how Ubisoft just bought the MOBA.
Hold on a minute.
You get 2 minutes to talk about this. 2 minutes and that's it.
I almost had an aneurysm when I read this thing, okay? I mean, it could not be possible. The headline of this story is just meant to give me either an aneurysm or a heart attack, one of the two. Ubisoft is acquiring March of Giants, the MOBA from Amazon. I mean,
oh my God.
Are they thinking? Like,
Oh
why? How is it possible that they can make these stupid decisions over and over again? Now, so I pulled back a little bit, and I want to be clear. Like, if they are acquiring the team, I totally get it, right? They're all in Montreal. They're all buddies. They're all like they've worked together for years and years and years. But the minute I hear that they are actually trying to publish that piece of shit game that no one fucking wants, is this like unbelievable that these guys manage a gaming company. Like, it is unbelievable if that is the case. So anyway.
So back to Amazon that also had a couple of MOBAs just for the fuck of it. I think it's a story of an organization that has been essentially staffed with dinosaurs that lived firmly in like 2010. That's what their portfolio looked like. And I think it's coming, sadly, to an end. Just like Chris always talks about, media companies and tech companies cannot manage gaming business.
Yeah, super tough. The one cool thing for Amazon Games, I actually went to the Game Awards and I actually sat in the audience, which was, I've never done it before. It was a fun experience, actually.
What did you wear?
I mean, nothing special. I didn't dress up. I mean, a lot of people did dress up, but no one was like in cosplay or anything like that. Like, people weren't really dressy. But I'm not really a Lara Croft Tomb Raider fan, but it was kind of cool to see that they're doing the remaster of the very first Tomb Raider, and then they have a new game, Crystal Dynamics, I think.
Yeah.
I think people clapped really loudly for that one Amazon Games, like the only thing left from them. Okay, so let's go to the most disappointing game. In 2024, it was Concord, followed by Squad Busters. They were kind of close, but I mean, I don't know how Concord didn't take it. So Adam, what do you have for 2025?
Yeah, so I actually messed up last year. I put in Supervive because I was thinking like surprisingly bad outcome, right? Like for a team that was excellent coming from Riot, surprisingly bad outcome. I will correct it this year. I'm thinking like bad outcome overall, something that we all knew was coming. So for this, I'm going to say Mind's Eye, Build a Rocket Boy.
Yeah.
Right? Like unequivocally not good.
Missed.
Right? Black Ops 7 would be my runner-up.
And I'll give you credit for Supervive just because they just announced today they're shutting down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over 300 million in funding, right?
That one's crazy. I'm going to put Borderlands 4, right? I think 96% of the Steam players are dropped out after 2 months after launch, right? They are completely mismanaging this franchise in this day and age, not creating live service type content. They're stuck in the old ways. Even though the game was better than the last one, I just think he's completely stuck in a rut right now.
Phil, what do you have?
I chose to take my shit on Ubisoft with Rainbow Six Siege X, which, if you remember, was the relaunch of Rainbow Six Siege. It was supposed to drive heightened players. Right now, we're looking at average daily concurrence on Steam for Rainbow Six Siege X. And you'll see this big jump around February. Nope, that is not X. You are looking at July when there's a smaller bump and almost looks like a seasonal content update. That is Rainbow Six Siege X, and it has precipitously fallen ever since then and is now near all-time lows. Not good.
Oh.
Just wah. Did not accomplish any of the goals it sought to do. And I played the game personally, and remember they were trying to speed up the game a little bit. They were having respawns. I think it also flopped for me personally when I tried to play.
And then there's the mobile version as well.
Oh,
Cooking.
that's right.
Still cooking.
One of these days.
Add that to the
One
list
of
of
these days.
the Ubisoft nomination. I also agree with Mind's Eye. 2.4 Metacritic user score, 34 critic score. PlayStation.
It's a 34, dude. 34 critic score is what's so crazy, dude. A game that costs that much money, and it's like, that's insane.
PlayStation issuing refunds. All right, my most disappointing game, I think, is Black Ops 7. 1.7 Metacritic user score, the lowest for any Call of Duty ever. Steam CCU is down 68% versus Black Ops 6. Twitch is down. Everything is down. They actually issued that pseudo apology blog post, something they've probably never done before. So even though there'll be revenue, that has to hurt. That has to not be profitable. And I think fans would probably be really, really disappointed. So Mishka, I think the one that you're going to talk about, do you remember when we did the GDC, we were all together and we did the podcast, and that week, this game had that weird launch. So I'll cue you up for your nomination.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wanted to say Moko because, it's a game from Supercell. We follow it, but that's not true. Nobody anticipated this game. It came out of woodworks and it had a very, very corny launch where everybody changed their LinkedIn statuses at the company. And in the end, it's like 7 million downloads, 7 million in gross revenue.
Oof.
My real pick The real pick is Splitgate 2. Now, 1047 Games, the publisher, is valued at $1.5 billion. And Lightspeed led the round that put this game over at over $1 billion. They launched the game, I believe, on Game Awards. So the founder was making the Make FPS Great Again hat. Then it moved directly into apologizing for the joke. Then they had that big bundle. You remember that, Phil? By somebody who was a PM for Call of Duty, and the founder threw that PM under the bus, basically. And then they had the official launch, which was absolute disaster, where they pulled the game down and ended up relaunching it as a Splitgate Arena Reloaded. And I looked at the SteamDB, so it had 82 players this week. So that relaunch probably did not go as planned. And in the end, like, this is kind of like the Mind's Eye situation where the momentum is gone. They spent probably a lot of money building this game, a lot of money launching this game. And now they've done the layoffs. And essentially, this is going to be either a slow decline or they're just going to shut it down, either or. I would say that's the biggest miss. But I do remember before this game launched, I heard from the VCs, I was like, how's Splitgate doing? They were like, you'd be surprised. This game actually looks really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Mice Nuts. So this is a small game that we liked to play. So it might not have been like huge in the revenue. And so last year, overwhelmingly, it was Balatro, the single developer game. So this year, what do you have, Adam?
So I was going to do Dispatch because I actually just played it and it was excellent. Ex-Telltale team, the writing was absolutely exceptional. But to be honest, like the thing that I really love to play this year that I still have not stopped playing is Elden Ring Night Rain. Still love it. Still playing it with my friends. Really, really great game. I know. It's just, that's the thing. You play Game of Thrones, I'm going to play Night Rain. That's what I did. And then call-outs there on Tainted Grail for a similar story from last year in terms of like very, very small development. I think, is it one person? No, I think it must be pretty small. But like being able to deliver a Skyrim dark fantasy with such a small budget, obviously might not in terms of outcome, but an amazing game.
I'm going with Clover Pit, which, just to make it certified Mice Nuts, has only done $4 million in life-to-date cumulative revenue, according to Video Game Insights. And if you're not familiar with this game, it is a roguelike gambling game, very similar to Balatro. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more attention. I think there's a lot of innovative mechanics here. I'd love to see this ported to mobile. Habby, if you are listening to this, this is your next hit. And I will give an honorable mention to Fish of Fortune, which is the other gambling product I am super excited about, but they're starting to scale from Whalo. So we'll see if we can't talk about them next year. Yeah, I'm getting into gambling, and I love this.
Getting into gambling. Okay.
I will say Game of Thrones King's Road. I can't believe that this game is not doing anything right now because it is really quite compelling. I'm still spending like an idiot. Just really disappointed that this game or a game like this is not doing better than it is.
I'm going to say Claire Obscure, maybe. Is that the one I'm going to say?
That's not Mice Nuts, though.
Well, yeah. So Cress was going to say, it was funny. He had the Steam machine and I was like, oh, it's the game. And so I picked like the next Playground, which had a huge Wall Street Journal article that just came out that it's on track for like $150 million. It's sold out everywhere. It's, it kind of exploded to the top because basically I said something on the podcast last week. No, I'm just kidding. It's just filling that gap for something. So the only reason why I had as Mice Nuts game Claire Obscure is because it kind of blew up. It was a smaller kind of opportunity that just got like all this momentum behind it and did actually kind of blow up. But okay, I hear you that's not like total Mice Nuts. So if I had to pick one, Phil always picks a client. So I'll pick my Animal Company as my client, who is a VR game that is going to go multi-platform soon. The number one.
Come on, too much shilling.
Yeah, too much shilling.
No, that's actually at least the definition. Her two other examples are completely not the definition. I mean, Mice Nuts, it has to be under 100 million, first of all.
Oh, I didn't know that. It has to be under 100 million.
That's the definition.
They're under 100
of
million. Yeah, it's the, one of the top games on the MetaQuest VR that's going to go multi-platform soon. Gen Alpha Darling. So, Animal Company will be mine. A VR game. So you can shit on me for that. All right, Mishka, what do you got?
Oh,
I'm going to take a contrarian view and give roses to Ubisoft on 2 games because you can be shitting on Ubisoft. So, first of all, Anno, Pax Romana.
Oh,
that game is amazing.
What is
City Builder.
fucking
city
stop
builder
with this Anno shit.
Roman era, and you can also choose the Celtic tribes to build your Celtic settlement. No
Are you-
fighting, just building. This game is fantastic.
I see,
It's
I
like
see the thread from
SimCity.
like Northgard to this. I can see it. I
Yeah.
can see it all.
This is SimCity meets Rome, essentially, and then plus with the Celtic. Anyway, amazing game.
You should just talk to Paradox. Like, go play Paradox games. There's way better games.
You should live in Germany with all the shut-ins, dude. Like, I don't know why you keep bringing this shit up. I don't understand. No one plays Anno besides the
Under
Germans.
100 million sales. It's an amazing game. It's bigger here in Central and Southern Europe. The second one, again, going to Ubisoft, Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era. Now, this is just because I'm an old dude and I used to play the previous Heroes of Might and Magic games. So it was great that they sort of kind of got back to the franchise. Amazing turn-based strategic battling. And then out of the ones that you would expect, I would name Ball X Pit. It's like perfect hybrid casual game. I mean, if it wouldn't have the movement for the character, that would be the game to copy. And I know Habby has already copied it to one of their titles, but it doesn't quite deliver on Ball X Pit. So if you are a hybrid casual publisher, make about 12 iteration of this one. One of them will surely hit.
Feels like we're going full circle. But like, these games were hybrid casual like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Like the beginning of hybrid casual already had Ball game by Voodoo.
Yes. This is essentially it. And this is like Survivor IO that came from the Vampire game. This is another one that are going to spawn another, $200 million game out of this. So fun game, fun to play. I would love this on mobile.
Yeah, back on Mishka's like strategy game, the other big impact from the Game Awards was the Total War Warhammer collaboration. All I could do was think that Mishka must be watching this, like
just
crying.
drooling.
Yeah.
Total War and Total War. You put those two together, nerd paradise.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
By the way, it did.
Thanks for sending me that. You actually pinged me like, hey, they're coming out with a new Total War. I was like, I need to reduce clients just when the game comes out. It's going to cost me like $50,000 to play that for a month.
Game devs. Here at Heroic Labs, we know that great gameplay is what players love, but integrating metagame features like challenges, progression, and rewards is crucial for retention and monetization. But coding them is a tedious and time-consuming process. That's why top studios have turned to Hero from Heroic Labs. Hero provides a complete suite of battle-tested metagame features that are quick to implement, letting you spend more time on the core gameplay experience. Ready to ship fully featured, engaging games? Check out Hero today at heroiclabs.com.
Stay ahead of the competition with Sensor Tower, the trusted source for mobile marketing intelligence. Whether you're tracking trends, benchmarking performance, or scouting the next big hit, Sensor Tower delivers the data that drives strategy. Dominate the charts with Sensor Tower.
Web stores, you've seen what good looks like, but have you experienced great? AppCharge is the direct-to-consumer platform that powers over $500 million in transactions each year for top studios. They're not just another vendor. They're backed by Supercell and built by monetization veterans from Moonactive, Playtika, and other industry giants who understand the difference between merely functional and the truly exceptional. What sets them apart? Deeply personalized web stores with custom designed offers, industry-leading monetization features, seamless in-game payment integration, and a robust SDK. While 70% of top-grossing games already have web stores, the ones scaling the fastest are doing it with AppCharge. Ready to transform good into great? Learn more at appcharge.com. Okay, the next category, they're kind of split into two, is the most skeptical move and the most brilliant move. This could have been an investment, an acquisition, it could be talent. So first, let's do skeptical move. Last year, the winner was Netflix paying rumored $50 million for 12 months of GTA Mobile. That was the winner. So let's go to Adam, most skeptical move.
I will put Moko and Boat Game, mainly for their launch strategies, but also a big call out on their progression design. Like, I think learning from Brawl Stars, learning from Clash Royale, what they've got there, it just feels like they've taken a step back from learning from progression design and launch strategies. I don't think their experiments were successful.
I have to say the spin out from Vantage from Ubisoft, like all super sketch. All the best franchises gone from the studio and owned by Tencent.
So Apple's, this goes back to Mishka, what you said earlier, Apple's dedicated games app paired also with the Liquid Glass update feature. So all of this was announced at WWDC 2025. And then if you remember, Liquid Glass turned into Liquid Ass when they had that error on the thumbnail where the play sign covered, GL. And so it said Liquid Ass. But anyway, that Apple's dedicated games app, I don't think is really gone anywhere or actually done anything.
Yeah, they spent 5 years probably building that. So,
yeah.
I'm going to say Netflix Games 2.0. Is this 3.0? I kind of lost the count. So essentially the big screen pivot, especially after the CEO put a value of 0 on the entire WB gaming business. It's like, what do you value your own gaming business at then? And this whole thing is like, now they make TV games, which honestly sounds like a great idea. Like you have these casual and party style game like Sudoku Jigsaw. They have Dead Man's Party, Knives Out game. I tried to play them, to be honest. I tried to play them today. I don't know where they are. I opened up my smart TV. I don't know even how to play them. I looked at the Google search data. I looked at the YouTube videos on how this is trending. It doesn't seem to be that exciting. There's not a lot of talk about these games. I feels like this Netflix 2.0 is going to be Netflix 3.0 back to licensing in 2026.
I'm going to say Royal Kingdom, literally just the whole thing. I'm not even just going to say the brand launch. I'm just the whole idea of this game where they were trying, I would argue, to pivot a little bit towards males was rotten from the core. They should have gone after 3D match or one of the other exploding genres inside of match. There's no more room in this genre anymore. I think the whole thing was rotten from the beginning, and I think they're paying for it now. Revenue per download is flat when it should be accelerating, just like we saw in Royal Match. And I don't predict good things for Dream unless they can pivot out of this. And they're very smart, and I hope they do. But I still think this was a poor execution.
Let me continue on that and ask you a question. If this is what it looks like for Dream's second game, what the does it look like for Turkish gaming industry? Because they all essentially look like made by Dream with less money and the same game.
I mean, I think that the bellwether case is Match Villains, right? Which has been in soft launch forever. It's still, it's scaling in the United States. There's no official launch anymore for anything. This genre is just at equilibrium, and I think it's time to pivot. I mean, don't be wrong. You still have Match Factory, right? Which has been an enormous success. So I don't think it's over for Turkey, but I think they need to start to explore other parts of match and casual. And I think they are on the hybrid casual side. I don't think it's over for Turkey. I just think it's time to explore the edges of the genre.
I meant only Match
just
3.
At equilibrium.
I know that they're exploring, especially Rolex has been coming out. Yeah. If you're doing Match 3,
don't do that. Blast, any of that shit. Yeah.
I would say that with Match 3, like you could have said the same thing 5 years ago. You could have said the same thing 10 years ago. Match 3 as a genre has always been evergreen with people pretty hungry for the next one. Obviously, it's still around like, what is that next version of Match 3 that will pull people together? Right. The same thing can be said, like, why did Dream Games even rise to the level that they had right now? I think it's a bit dismissive to say that Match 3 is now booked.
Adam, I didn't mean that. What I meant is like every game coming out of Turkey right now, every Match 3 game looks like it's made by Dream in terms of art style, in terms of gameplay.
Most casual games coming out of Turkey look like it's being made. And they already are exploring a lot of the fringes of the casual categories, right? Like you look at something like Grand, who intentionally is not going after Match 3 and is quite successful in that. But many of those other genres have ceilings.
I don't agree with this analysis. Like, we're now at the first time where match is less than 50% of casual match revenue when you think about all the different subgenres. Like, it's just not where the growth is happening. And not only are we talking about Royal Kingdom, but you got to remember that Playrix has had all these spin-offs that have been in soft launch forever that we haven't talked about, like Familyscapes. I think we've never talked about Familyscapes. There's all this shit that's just hanging out in soft launch that can never get to the plate because CPIs are so high. The paradigm can always shift, to your point, Adam, but this isn't where I'd be looking next.
Titillating conversation about puzzle.
All right. The most brilliant move, again, investment, acquisition, talent. So last year, it was a little bit close. It was Disney and Epic's kind of coming together, and then MTG buys Plarium. So Phil, what do you have for this year?
I'm actually putting Scopely buying Niantic. So right now we're looking at portfolio performance for Scopely. And I think buying Niantic actually covered a lot of weakness they've had in their portfolio. A lot of bets that they've made have not played off. If you remember, there was Garden Joy, which we talked about, which is interesting. Tag Games, Stumble Guys. None of these things look that great. And I think buying Pokemon Go immediately makes it first or second in terms of the importance in their portfolio. And now they're just Monopoly Go. They're just a Go company, whether it's Pokemon Go or Monopoly Go. And I think that was a very smart move for them as a firm. From what I know about Javier and Walter and what they were trying to accomplish, like we don't have the end of year publisher rankings, but now that they've bought Niantic, it's immediately pushed them into a top 5, top 10 publisher, which is something they've always wanted. And regardless of the game's performance, I think it was just an absolute, as Eric might call it, gangster move to go ahead and pull this off.
I have kind of two. One, forgive me for saying AI, but this has a reason. AI and ad tech and AI and ad creative has been just a fundamental saving grace post IDFA. All of the change, yes, CPIs are more and all those different things, but had this not come along, we would be in such a worse place than we are post IDFA. The other one, I think I'll go back to something I said earlier, is, Tim choosing to spend his $120 million, whatever that was, or his 5-year legal fight to finally get to some resolution on the settlements against Apple and Google.
He capitulated. He didn't win anything. He capitulated to Google. What are you talking about?
Yeah, brilliant move is he invested all of that time and money to go up against Apple and Google to win, in a sense, better rev share. There is not a resolution on their agreement.
Okay, all right.
Because,
the little birdies are telling me is that Tim is getting pressure from shareholders and others to fucking capitulate on this bullshit and focus on building a platform as Roblox takes the world away right now, right?
Yeah.
His agreement to do this thing with Google was an absolute horrific event that should never happen, given how much he's fought for this. He's just going to capitulate on that bullshit, he's not above board right now in terms of what he's doing, right? So I'm not a good agree on this.
So the what we thought was a brilliant move that we were all applauding has now turned into a skeptical move. Is that what you're saying?
I applaud him for trying his best to do it, but now he has completely capitulated to the man, right? Like he's no longer our champion.
But what? The DMA? Getting the cosmetic, no one believed in this guy to start. This is a long shot. Project Liberty.
Capitulated.
I'm with Jen on this one. I think you're off your rocker, whatever you say.
He's not fighting the fight anymore.
He's still paying the legal bills, so I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure his legal bills are in tens of 50, 100 million.
Well over
100
million.
Okay. All right, fine. You want to say this is brilliant move this year? We'll see what happens next year as he capitulates further because
That's
all
fine.
the pressure he's getting.
So I think we're at the phase where this year we thought it was brilliant. As we are starting to learn more, maybe next year we swap our take on that.
All right.
Mishka.
Call me Mishka of Arabia, but I'm going to say the brilliant move has been Saudi's entry into the gaming. So starting from the Esports World Cup, there is insane looking event with, the biggest guests to now the top-notch acquisitions from Scopely to Niantic to EA to EA to now Moonton, because everybody needs a MOBA in their portfolio. And most importantly, the post-acquisition companies are doing quite well. They have IPs as a moat. They're now on all the platforms. They are becoming one of the significant players in gaming in just a couple of years. So I would say brilliant moves.
I'm going to say EA's sale to the Saudis. Like, they're looking down the barrel of a gun over the next 2 or 3 years in terms of growth and profitability at EA. Like, it's going to be a real big challenge for them. Selling out at this time at this level, I think, was brilliant for not only for EA and shareholders, but also for the legacy of my favorite CEO with the best BMI in the business, Mr. Andrew. I heard subsequently, not only is Andrew the best, really good friends with the guy from Goldman, he's actually really, really good friends with the guy from the PE firm, Silver Lake. So it's like, this was like a dirty ass motherfucking deal, dude. This is all back end, shaking hands and anyway, whatever. It's really kind of gross. But for EA shareholders, for EA employees, as well as for Mr. BMI, I think it's a really, really good, brilliant deal.
Yeah, especially because they were stagnant, right?
He leaves a hero. He's a fucking hero, His legacy is intact.
Got it. All right. Let's go to Mr. Disney Solitaire. You got a good one, Adam?
Playticket's in a rough spot, but I would call out that their acquisition of Superplay was brilliant. Like it happened in November 2024, but I think 2025 really showed it was smart. And I think the partnership there between Playtika and Superplay has really shown like 1 + 1 = 3 for Disney, really raising the ceiling for solitaire. So shout out to them.
Oh, I want to add a quite small note. So since you mentioned Superplay, that company was essentially funded to the top by UA financing, as one of the example on the podcast where we had PVX and General Catalyst on.
Oh, well, there
The
you
more
go.
you know.
$2 billion acquisition. So, so all that shit
Cool.
talk about UA financing. Here's one.
Just to be clear, though, Playtika is down 50% from the time they did that acquisition.
I started that by saying that they're in a rough spot, but this one move I think would be called brilliant.
They would have been down worse is probably what. All right. So we have 2 more categories. This one is You Crushed It. So this is a both creative and a business success story. We're kind of the only ones I feel like that look at it through both of these lenses of creative and business. Last year, what won pretty handedly was Brawl Stars live ops and IP collaborations, really bringing that game to the top. Adam, what do you have?
Century Games. I think Kingshot obviously is scaling really, really well. Also, shout out to Tasty Travels, whereas like they're going broader. They're not just 4X, extremely successful team. Still
Fun
Century
Plus.
Games.
Roblox.
Yeah.
A Roblox
Yeah.
game. They have a Roblox game. They are an incredible company. And speaking of Roblox, my nomination is Grow a Garden. Oh my God, talk about results. This has been one of the biggest successes of the year. The biggest success, in my opinion, when we just think about gaming, at 21.3 million concurrent
Preach.
players at one point. This
What-
was
what's-
seven
what's the revenue,
seven
Phil?
times higher.
What's the revenue?
What's the
Phil?
Seven
revenue? What's
times
the
higher
current player
than
count?
any
What's the current
recorded player count
Why did you
on
leave this chart?
Steam
And
in history above PUBG? I don't have the revenue numbers in front of me. I'm trying to work with Joe from GameFan to get us better time series data. It has sustained pretty well. Yes, is a little bit on the decline. I think the reason this is important is not just for this small team, which has made a shit ton of money on very little investment, almost none. The other thing is that I think this proved that you can launch new businesses on Roblox. You can shake up the top 10 charts. And to your point, Mr. Eric Kress, if we were to look at the sheer price of Roblox between this and Steal a Brain Rot, it has markedly increased since these 2 games were successes. So they're not even capturing the value that they're creating on the platform. Really, Roblox is the winner here because they proved that this model can work. You can build live service businesses, you can build original businesses. So absolutely grow a garden, not just for the team, but for the platform as well. Does that answer your question, Mr. Kress? We want to look at market cap pre-post?
You're bringing it up to the peak in May. Since then, it is down. It is down huge.
I
you did
didn't
that
have,
on purpose.
Like I just
Phil.
said, I
Dude,
don't have the,
dude,
I don't have the
even
time
put-
series.
so
I don't have
bullshit.
the,
All right, let Phil have his nomination. Let's keep
That's-
going.
that's-
I mean, we're going to yell at each other.
yeah, Mr. Super Play, Mr. Playtika guy over there. Sure. Down 25%, trying to shit
All
on
right,
Grow a
so
Garden.
it's really hard for me to come after Adam and not completely agree with Century Games. So I'm going to go and say Chinese game developers across all platforms are the winners. If I had to pick one, what Gossip Harbor is doing in Merge, which is Microfun, also a Chinese company, has really just absolutely exploded from when I used to be a massive player. What it's been able to do over the last year is absolutely amazing. Then you've got, everything going on, even in PC console, Chinese developers, NetEase with Marvel Rivals, like everything going on is great. My golf clap is, because this is not a game, is to the Battlefield marketing team. They just absolutely crushed it. And I think they deserve as much kudos as the game. The game was great. Thank you. It gives some clap to some marketing folks. So just really redeeming themselves on, all of the past stumbles and especially taking advantage of Call of Duties, like shitting the bed on that. So Mishka, what do you have?
I think Supercell is going to take it this year as a repeat. So last year was Brawl Stars. This year is Clash Royale. And especially Sarah Jessica Bach, who's the new president, and he used to be the head of Live Ops.
Yeah.
I mean, Clash Royale, 135% revenue growth on a 9-year-old game. Third highest year after 2016, 2017. So we're talking about way over $500 million in net revenue for this game.
Is this a troll? Is this a troll
Yeah,
nomination?
I'm-
Can't be
I'm-
serious with this one. This is a joke. This company's in the shitter, man. Everything looks bad. Yeah, Clash Royale did great, but they bring up
This
the
is a
winning
game.
now that is in
I'm
Brawl
talking about a
Stars.
game.
This
Not
is
only
fair. This is a fair and absolutely fair.
Cool.
What's
Okay,
new in
okay, I'll back
Supercell?
off.
Like
I'll
I'm
back
getting
off. I'll
loud
back
blast
off. I agree
radios
with
from
you.
Phil Black. Like I'm blacklisted.
No, I will agree
Okay.
on Clash Royale. I will agree. The design innovation on
and I
Evolutions
get
is
it.
incredible,
It
so I'll give
is
to you.
short-lived, but I think it's going to be bigger than before this one, and it's just super impressive. And most importantly, this game keeps
is.
Supercell relevant much more than perhaps the AI labs and the Sparks that nobody even talks about anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you guys didn't put Supercell in for Skeptical Move with all the AI stuff and everything.
We don't want to talk
We already
about
did
it.
it, yeah.
We just
All
don't
right.
want to talk about it.
Chris.
Yeah,
All right,
enough Supercell.
I'm going to
talk.
nominate Battlefield. I mean, I really do believe that EA put all hands on deck. I think they had 5 or 6 teams working on this, hundreds and hundreds. Someone said $1 billion of spend on this game, given all the fixes to Battlefield 2042 over the years. And they got the sell-through, right? There's no doubt that they overperformed their expectations on the sell-through. Having said that, I think the audience does look a little bit weak. They're not really executing as well on the live ops side of it, but they did execute almost flawlessly at launch, both on the marketing and the product. So,
Okay.
And just to help your data point, recent news today, #1 premium selling game in the United States. I forget the exact quote,
wow.
but it is numero uno.
They're estimating. They still have December.
which
to
I think
go.
you gotta
saw
give
that.
credit.
Yeah.
Proud of.
Yeah.
All right.
As I
Limping
said,
Donkey.
brilliant move from Saudis.
Okay, so the Limping Donkey, what this means is it was a former kind of unicorn company or game that's now in trouble. Last year it was Forte that raised over 900 million. Phil, who do you have?
I have Dreamhaven here. So if you remember, Dreamhaven is primarily funded by the Morheims, which are the founders of Blizzard. His wife is also involved in the company. I really thought this was going to be the second coming of Blizzard. I thought they were going to steal all of Blizzard's most important people, and they were going to go out and just like run the table from Blizzard, which was really behind the 8 ball on a lot of things. Instead, they basically, I think Mike Morheim looks like Bill Belichick at UNC. I think the game has passed him by. I would say that Wildgate was a complete and utter failure. As Adam has pointed out, Sunderfolk just didn't have the TAM. It was a thesis that was rotten to start with. And I'm just disappointed because I want to see them make great games. As we do on this podcast, we shit on people, but ultimately it's because we want to see them make great games. And I expected way more out of this company. I expected second dinner level innovation, regardless of the financial success.
They
and I
even
don't think they
published
did
some
any
of the
that.
games that had been published before by Paradox Arc. That was so weird.
I'm going to nominate Believer. We didn't get the news story that we wanted because it just went under the radar. But the company almost went belly up after all this money that was raised for them from Lightspeed, A16Z, BitCap, Riot, Upfront, OneUp, blah, 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 blah. But they are definitely on a respirator at this point. And then the other one is, I would say, is Theorycraft, which is exactly the same kind of thing with A16Z, BitCraft, Griffin, Makers. End of days happening at that studio as well. That might be more of a news story, both of those for next year, but I think.
Yeah, Theorycraft just announced Supervive is going to shut down in February, I believe. So sad to hear. A bunch of ex-Riot folks I used to work with. Adam, what do you have?
But would you call that an L for those teams or for A16?
A16.
Everyone. Yeah,
Why
isn't
not
it everyone?
both?
Like if we're talking about who is the limping donkey, are you saying?
Oh, maybe we
it's
should
A16?
say Lightspeed. A16Z and Lightspeed. Right, I'll do it
Yeah,
that way.
but I
Let's
think
do,
that's more
let's do
fit.
big VC in gaming. A16 and Lightspeed across the board.
Gaming VC. That's what you mean.
Yeah. I'm gonna do Ubisoft for this because it just feels like the definition of what we're talking about in terms of limping donkey.
Mine, sorry, Adam, I know it's your formal P-Pro. I'm going to say Bungie. Destiny 2 is kind of really fallen off. Marathon delayed to 2026, and Marathon is on the struggle bus. Remember, we looked at the cinematic trailer, amazing. The gameplay trailer, oh no. They're, underneath the Sony umbrella. They get called in to do live ops, triage on other people's games, a lot of headcount reductions. Doesn't feel, in a sense, to me like the same Bungie that we used to know. I think there's like a song in there that kind of represents that. Mishka, what do you have?
I wanted to also kind of say gaming VCs, just because the valuations have gone down and we have seen how little do gaming VCs deploy. So if you have a fund that is specifically focused on gaming, you might be a limping donkey, especially if you raise in like 2021, 2022. I'm not talking all of them, but I would say maybe even 90% of gaming focused VCs are limping donkeys if they haven't pivoted already. But I'm not going to say that because I love the VCs. They're the most fun company. So I'm going to say
You're not going to say that.
I'm not going to say that.
You just
I'm
said
not
it.
going to say that. I'm going to just say like yes, I know A16Z Games pivoted away from games and they're not doing it. They're doing drones and defense contracts and cybersecurity. I'm not going to say that.
But
No, because I absolutely love their events. They're amazing people and super fun to hang out. So I'm not going to say gaming VC. What I am going to say, once again, I'm going to say Forte, because this company has raised $900 million from the likes of A16Z and Griffin, who happen to be gaming VCs. They are valued in billions. They have never shipped anything. They describe themselves as leading provider of blockchain solutions focused on compliance, trust, and user safety. And with, top of the investors, they operate in Web3 gaming that we have collectively agreed is a rug pull and a scam. And at this point, I think Forte is not only negative to the shareholders and the investors, but to the gaming industry as a whole through their acquisitions of Phoenix Labs, Network, Rumble. Anything that they touch turns to shit. So I know Chris has had a siege on Embracer for a couple of years, and that was successful. He breached the gates. So I'm camping in front of Forte until the walls come down.
All right, that was a good one. Mishka, you redeemed yourself in the last one right there. This whole time, you got me incensed. That was a good one.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well done. To wrap us up, so that is the 2025 Golden Twig nominations. Again, look in Slack, newsletter, and blog for voting, and we will come back in a couple weeks with all of the results and read your comments. Thanks, everyone, and see you next week.
Thank you.
You did it. You made it to the end of the episode. As a fan of the show, it would help us out if you'd subscribe and leave us a review on the podcast service of your choice. Those stars and likes, while a small action on your part, mean a lot to us and help to grow the show. More importantly, are you a member of the Deconstructor of Fun Slack group? If you have 5 years or more of games industry experience, go to deconstructoroffun.com/Slack and apply to join. Join the games industry best professional community filled with peers always willing to lend a hand, or subscribe to our newsletter to get all the latest insights from the Deconstructor of Fun content creators. Thanks for listening.